Hi there, welcome to today's painting tutorial. Today we are going to paint a magical lantern with acrylic paints, so let's get started. I'm going to start with a size 3 flat brush and grab the sketch in the description below so you can paint along. And let's start with this purple color. This is a Periwinkle. And I'm going to start putting that in up at the top. And we'll put that in or the left side. And now let's take some of this magenta and we'll mix it with a little bit of the purple. And then let's bring this color down towards the bottom. I put some of it over here as well. And then we'll bring it down this way. And then up here at the top, let's put a little bit of orange. And then a little bit of the yellow. I'm going to put a little bit of orange over here and over on this side. Okay, I'm going to go back to that purple and continue to bring that down. Let's put some over on this left side. And then magenta. And then bring that along this area here. And now I want to transition into a lighter color. So I'm gonna pick up, let's take some of the orange and mix it with the magenta. And then add some white to that. And start bringing that around the base at the bottom. And then some more orange. And then I'm going to pick up the yellow and start feathering that yellow up. And then pick up some white and start putting the white in there. And you can try to vary your brush strokes, so go in different directions, vertical, horizontal, and even diagonal. I'm going to continue to add some white. And then let's add some yellow and mix that yellow with the white. And then I'm going to bring some of this lighter yellow color and put it up near the top. Just sort of flick little spots. I'm going to rinse off this brush and let's pick up some of this magenta, mix it with some white, and start bringing that in sort of as a transition color. And then I'm going to pick up some of this purple and bring some of that back. Now let's take some light purple and mix it with some white. And then let's bring that up around the top here. Just creating some highlights. Okay, and let's let that dry. While that's drying, let's work on the top and the bottom. So to do that, let's take some of this burnt umber. I'm going to put a little bit around this top here. And then I'm going to take some of the gray paint and let's put that in. And then on the right side, we could get a little bit lighter, so we can use some of this lighter gray and start mixing that in. Then we can add the dark paint again. And use that to create some shadow. And then let's pick up a little bit of a highlight color. It's just some white that has some purple on it. Just gonna highlight that in the center, and then we can come down this way. Okay, and then let's do the bottom area. So I'll take that dark brown. We'll put that in around the outside edge. And then pick up some gray paint. Allow that to mix in. And then pick up some of the bluish gray. Just add that as a highlight. And we could also take some of this yellowish, this pastel yellow, and we can put a few flicks in there, which could be a reflective highlight. Okay, I'm going to go back to the 3 flat brush and let's put in some highlights. So I'm going to let's take some white paint and a little bit of the yellow. And let's just go back and put a few little marks for highlights, just to create more of a glowing effect. Okay, and you can be pretty loose with these brush strokes here. And you could also go back with maybe some light blue. Could add some white with that bluish gray. And then add in some cool highlights as well. Okay, so now let's take a 0 liner brush. And I'm going to let's take this burnt umber. And then go back and see if you can put the lines in. And they don't have to be perfect. You can, if you lost the lines, that's okay. I'm going to try to put them in where they were. Okay, so you could do it like that. And then you could go back with some of the burnt sienna and maybe even add a little white onto there. And then add a few little lines on top of that darker shadow, and that's just going to create a little more depth and dimension. Okay, and you could go back and put some of those lines along the top piece of the lantern as well, and along the bottom. Okay, I'm going to add some more white onto the palette. And let's put some final highlights. So I'm going to rinse off that brush. And with that white, I'm going to put a little bit of yellow in there. Get a really bright highlight. I'm going to bring that into this center, because this is where everything is really glowing. Then I'll put some on this side. And a little bit over here. Can bring it up a little bit. But really emphasize right here. You can continue to add some splashes of white to create that as where everything is starting to glow. Okay. And then you can take some of this light yellow and you might put some along the bottom. Just some flicks of paint there. And maybe let's put some at the top. Just add a few little dots and dashes. Okay, that's just going to give it a sort of sparkling effect. You might add some orange. And that is how you can paint a glowing lantern with acrylic paints. I hope you give this a try. Like and subscribe for more painting tutorials. If you want to go deeper into acrylic painting, check out my free guide in the description below, and we will see you in the next tutorial. Bye!